Good afternoon YouTube friends, my name is Jackie and welcome back to Gone Potty Gardening. Well, I've put the brolly up today. It's the first time in a long time we've got a nice bit of sunshine and we're due a few more days of lovely sunshine. And in the background you can probably hear the water feature. I just set that up yesterday as well. Well, I rescued that from when the builders chucked it in the side of the long grass and it still works thankfully. But yeah, it's lovely. I love having that sound of the water when I'm pottering around in the garden. As some of you know from my previous videos, I've got some walking onions and I've been on about them for a little while. Now today I want to make a bed to put those in because they're coming on terrific. I'll just show you. So these have just been stuck in a bucket, but as you can see there's lots of tiny little onions growing on the sides of them. And they're desperate to get into their own growing space. So that is a job that I want to get done today. Another thing I want to do is harvest the very small snowball onions. I've decided that we've got plenty of onions for normal use, you know, cooking and stuff like that, and spring onions or scallions as they call it here. So I'm going to use these little snowball onions I'm going to pickle them. Now, I remember years ago, I don't know if you all remember, when did your mum used to make pickled onions and get them out at Christmas or whatever. Sometimes they'd be really tart and sour, you know. So last year I did a few and I actually did them in white vinegar with a bit of sweetener. I use Sugarly. So that's what I shall be doing, and so there'd be a bigger version of a what do they call them? Silver skin onion, really. So yeah, let's go and harvest them, and we'll talk about them when we've picked them. So these onions were planted quite late in the year. I've pulled a few. They're not a great size, but they're an alright size, aren't they? I'll let them dry out, and like I said, we'll pickle them. So I'm just going to get the wheelbarrow, I think, first. So let's put that wheelbarrow there, and then I've got something to put them all in. But yeah, they're an ideal size, I think, for pickling. There's the odd red onion in with it, which I'll take out when we're done. But these were planted quite late. I'm trying to think when. About middle of April, something like that. So yeah, they have been late. There's a couple of the red ones. Oh, they've got some nice roots on them, look. There's a couple of the red ones that have gone to seed, but we can sort them out when we move the wheelbarrow. And I think I picked these little ones up from I think it was Lidl or Aldi, one of them two German stores. But yeah, these have been grown in this raised bed because that's the room that I had at the time, you know. But when you see the size of them, they are small, but to me that's the perfect pickling size. And then what I'll do, see, that's a nice size, little ones. I'll sit under my brolly, clean them up a little bit, let them dry out, and then when I've done that, I'll get on to making that bed for the walking onions. Now them walking onions take quite a while to get going, I think. You could even use these as spring onions, to be honest, but I want to pickle them. Yeah, but I think they're cute. They've got some nice big roots on them, look. Oh, and I've got to pull the garlic actually, so we'll do that in a sec as well. They seem to be like all around about the same size. That'd be a nice little job to do today though, sitting under that brolly and get me knife. Yeah, you see how these have gone to seed? These gone to seed means it all goes up through the shoot instead of forming a bulb. But I mean, you still can use them in sandwiches and stuff. I mean, that's a really big one gone to seed, and look, you can see how much the stem bulbous out as well. So that one I probably won't be using actually. But get the rest of these out. So I've actually pulled some of these garlic, not all of them, but yeah, absolutely huge. Look at it. But the idea of these actually is I want to save quite a few of these for planting in the autumn for next year, so that I can double the amount of garlic that I get next year. And in the last video I said about these little corms on them. I'm going to save all them and plant them up as well. They'll be right in the polytunnel over the winter. So yeah, let's get on and harvest the rest of them. I'll deal with the mud later. I got myself a narrow little spade in case they're really deep rooted, you know, which they might be. But to save me pulling them apart, I'm just going to put that down there, because they get really big roots on them, and they really stick in, you know, to the point. Wow, that is huge. Look at that. Oh my god, comparison to my hand, that is a huge. So for now I'm just going to stick them in the wheelbarrow. And then we'll clean everything up, including the onions. That one's not as big, but still good. If you haven't grown elephant garlic before, mainly I've got some volunteer potatoes here as well. They'll have to get chucked on the top. They're not as strong as normal garlic, but the cloves are much bigger and they still taste very nice. See, these I'm going to have to put a shovel down because they're too stuck in. These were put in October. Oh, go on. Here we are. Gee. There we are. And this is the bit I was on about harvesting, letting that little bit go crispy a bit. So yeah, they all need a good clean up and a dry out, and I want to pick all these off. Got to reach these ones at the back. That one dislodged itself, but hey, blimey. You can actually see where that one's trying to reshoot, look. Anyway, that's going in the pile. Anyway, what I'll do is I'll pull them all and I'll come back to you when I finish. So that's that bed all cleared now of the garlic, and then what I should do, I'm a little bit late actually, but put a little bit of goodness back into the holes that are the planting holes, and plant the leeks in that patch there. Cool, that did enough make me sweat pulling all them up. There's loads of them on the barrow. So I've got myself a nice sharp knife and a chopping board. I'll probably need the hose pipe to wash them all down, but I'm going to start with the big garlic, preparing them and then drying them off obviously. and then get onto the onions. So let's go. So I'm going to start off by sorting out these garlic. Now these are the little corms that I'm going to be saving. Excuse the state of my hands. And I'm going to be putting them in this bucket because I'm sure there'll be quite a lot of them. And I'm just going to trim the roots off. I've got an old bucket down on the floor here. Take all the old stuff off. Rinse it under the tap. And then let them dry. And find a place to dry them anyway. But I'll wash them all at the end. I'm just going to take these roots off. Like I say, take the worst off. And then rinse them under the tap. And I shall be keeping some of these cloves when they've dried out for sowing, like I say, in October. So I'm just going to lay these on the table once I've sorted them out a little bit. And right at the end I shall put them under the tap, just the bulb bit. And obviously I'll show you right at the end when we get to the end, but this is a huge one, this one. So these got quite a few little corms on here. So they're the ones that I'm saving. Take them all off. And these will take 2 years to get to a proper garlic. But I don't mind that. There's another one there. I'm just going to turn this around the other way because I'm right-handed. So now, take those roots off. Like I say, take the worst off. I love garlic, I don't know about you, but I do like it. And any leftovers that I'm peeling off and all that will benefit the garden because it'll go into the compost heap. I'm just getting the worst off because what will happen is that will all crisp over and get a little shell of its own when they dry out, and then I'll be able to decide what ones to keep. You know, to plant again, and what ones to keep to sow. I mean, what ones to keep to eat. So I've got quite a lot of these to sort out. I love the smell of them. And I mean, considering you're putting them in October and now it's like middle of July, it's quite a while they're in the ground, isn't it, really? But very worth it. Can't beat your own freshly picked and garlic and veggies. Really smells lovely. If I hold the bulb up quite close, you can see where the bulbs have formed inside. What I'll do is I'll get on with the rest and I'll be back to you when I've finished. So, sorting that garlic out took me about an hour, but I did enjoy it, I really did. I'll show you what we've ended up with. So remember, I've got some bulbs that come away when I tried to pull them up actually. So I'm going to freeze them as they are, and they're perfectly usable like that. I've got the little corms, which you know, you can grow, but it takes 2 years to get a proper garlic. And the ones that I've pulled. So I'll turn you around and you can have a look. So there you are, some lovely garlic there, look, some lovely garlic. What I'll do is I'll probably leave that on the table because we've got a few really hot days coming, and that'll help it. Those are the bulbs that I can just put in the freezer, and they're the ones that I'm going to put in a pot for the first year. The second year I'll plant out, and I'll end up with big garlic like that in the second year. So yeah, really pleased with that. These big thingies of garlic, they're huge. I shall probably hang in the green polytunnel from the ceiling and just let them all dry out, and then, like I say, when they've all dried out, I shall choose how many I want to plant this October. And like I say, I'm hoping to double the amount I get, and eventually, you know, might be able to sell a few bulbs to help the garden seeds and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's it now. I want to go on to the onions now, the little snowball onions. Remember these that we were pulling up first off? I just want to tidy them all up a bit, and again I'll tie them and dry them out, and then when they've dried out, I'm going to do some lovely pickled onions. So yeah, let's have a go cleaning these up a little bit. Like I say, these are only quite small, but I'm just going to cut the end off, get rid of all these. I mean, that's already starting to form a thin skin on it. But I'm not gonna what I'm not gonna do is leave them like the whole length. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to do them to about there. So I've got them like that. And what I'm going to do is, with the greens that I've got here, I'm going to dehydrate them and make an onion powder, which is to me quite exciting. So I've got another bowl next to me, the same one that the corns were in. I'm going to chop all these separately, and then when I take the garlic round, I'll have the coriander and I'll be able to rinse them all through and then put them in the dehydrator. So yeah, and they will need sorting because, as you know, with gardening everything gets muddy. So basically all I'm going to do is do that and put these bits in the dehydrator. Obviously not the really straggly bits right at the end, but these bits are lovely. And then I shall blend them when they've all dried out, and that'll be our homemade onion powder. So for now I'm just going to stick them in the same box as this, but at the other end, and sort it out later on. And these will be how the onions will be. So I've got a lot to do, and I'll come back to you when I've finished them all. So it's evening time now. You wouldn't think so because probably it looks lighter on the camera, but it's just gone 8 o'clock, and I finally finished sorting out this garlic and the onions. And I really enjoyed it. I did jobs in between. We put some security cameras up and pottering about, getting distracted, make dinner, and then I'll come back to this. So yeah, it's finally done. So I'll show you what I've got left. So they're the garlic. So I've ended up with a really nice harvest of them, and yeah, I'm gonna probably hang them, like I said, in the polytunnel, let them dry out. I've actually got a colander over there. I'll show you in a minute. These are the little snowball onions. Well, I can either use some of them as scallions or spring onions, put some in the fridge, use the rest for pickling, which I'm going to do. So I'm just going to leave a few in the fridge and let the rest get a skin on, and then later on do some pickled onions. They're the box of the tips of the onions. I'm going to dehydrate them and make my own onion powder. So basically put them in the dehydrator and then blend them all together to like a fine powder, and there you go. And these are the corms. These in here, well, that's not meant to be there, but these are the cloves that were actually you know, split open really. So I did them all, peeled them all out. I'm just going to freeze them in a bag and use them as we need them. That's what I did last time with the little ones, you know. So yeah, there'll be no waste at all. So it feels good that I've used everything I can from the stuff that we've grown so far. And you know, it does take a long time to prepare stuff when you've grown it, but that's all part of it. That's part of the enjoyment, sitting out, relaxing and getting it all done. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and share if you don't mind, and I love reading your comments. And in the next video I'm going to plant the leek, and there is something else. Oh yeah, the walking onions. So I'll see you in the next video. Take care everyone. Bye.